Now, looking at the current market, things don't seem like they're going absolutely perfect. If we want to look all across the board, we're not seeing any areas that are producing growth. In fact, if we want to look in the past month, we're not really seeing any growth all across the board in any specific area. But I don't think it's actually too bad. In fact, I think we're right on the edge of something changing for a couple different reasons. If we want to look in the short term here, we've got the CS2 Major and we've got the Chinese New Year both on the horizon. Both of those are probably going to positively impact the overall game. However, even more importantly, if we want to look in 2023, in 2022, and in 2021, in the first 3 months of the year, we saw a significant amount of growth every single year, and why would it be any different this year when we're already on such a great track over the past year already? SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free bonus for signing up with the first link in the description. They're the premier place for CSGO and Rust skins, with a massive trading site and a top-of-the-line marketplace, offering you the most competitive rates out there and a massive 40% bonus when you're using that link in the description. Combine that with their top-of-the-line selling feature with many payout options, and their trading feature legitimately taking you just about a minute, and there's no reason not to sign up with that first link in the description. Now, why do I think the market is going to improve? Well, if we want to talk about pairs for starters, we can see significant improvements already. If you want to look at this, the left is 1 month ago, the right is today, and it doesn't seem like too much has changed, but when we break it down month by month, we can see significant amount of improvement. Specifically looking at the far right, the column, we can see that there's a lot more green than red. Green means the number is going up, red means the number is going down. Last month, we saw a significant amount of red, now we're starting to see a lot of green. Now, obviously, this isn't too impactful to the overall market because there's a ton of pairs out there, but I think it's definitely a great start. Now, focusing in on the pair stickers specifically, there's a couple big ones I want to point out. First of which is the Challenger's Capsule is something that I have commonly praised about here because we can see that there's obviously significant amount of lower applications, but it just got even better for me personally. That's because if we want to look at the glitter application in the past month, we can see that 19,000 G2 glitters were applied. Now, why is this really good? That's because G2 is a sticker that has multiple alternatives out there, which is really good for this specific Challenger's Capsule because a lot of the stickers inside of it don't have alternatives out there, which are significantly more preferable than the ones that do. Therefore, we expect the stickers that have alternatives out there to perform worse, and when they perform this well, like the G2 is doing, that overall for me raises the impact that this capsule could have later down the line, especially if we start to see those ones that don't have borderless alternatives pick up in demand. Now, talking about the pairs capsule specifically, I still think they're in a pretty desirable situation. That's because none of them are actually doing quite poorly. All of them are above that 25-cent price point, which is exactly what we want to see in a time like this. Obviously, there's not a huge amount of demand for pairs, but they're still doing overall pretty decent. They're above that 25-cent price point, which is exactly what we want to see. Now, focusing in on cases, we're not seeing anything too crazy. In fact, a lot of them theoretically on the graph are down maybe 15-20%. That's because they had a little bit of a spike right there at the beginning of December, but most of them overall are sitting roughly around the average we've seen for the past 2 to 3 months for cases. With that being said, I still think they're in a very profitable situation if you want to go ahead and invest into them. Obviously, you can't guarantee anything, but rare cases right now are about as sure of an investment you can get. I think they're so desirable and they've got so much demand behind them. We just need to see the overall player count pick up, and I think it's very likely that could be happening right very soon. That's because if we want to look at this right here, this is the overall unboxing. Focus in on the snakebite. Snakebite seems a little bit low, doesn't it? Exactly. It's at its 24-month low for a percentage makeup of the unboxing numbers. This means that it's only making up about 7% of the total unboxings out there, which is extremely low for an active duty case, especially in today's date. To give you a little perspective about this, if we want to look at the Revolution case, it's unboxed 13.7%. The Dreams and Nightmares is over 14%, and all of the other ones are in between 7 and 14%, which is a very decently strong unboxing for those other ones, but not for the snakebite. Snakebite's abnormally low at this time, which makes it very plausible that Valve could go ahead and release a case to go ahead and kick the snakebite out and get another one that's pumping in there, pumping up those numbers, because that's exactly what Valve cares about at the end of the day. Now, earlier we mentioned about the massive growth we saw in the first couple of months of the year. Looking at 2023 specifically and not including CS2, we still saw a massive amount of growth. Cutting it off at maybe the first week of March, we can see massive amount of growth, specifically for cases first up. We can see roughly a double in price for most of these cheaper rare cases, which is such a massive amount of growth when you think about it, because there was nothing specifically that was keeping up the interest there. We saw the announcement of CS2 on March 23rd, and even then we saw the prices go ballistic. But before that, the prices were still heating up so significantly. Talking about Antwerp capsules, we saw a 3x in prices for the significant amount of capsules out there. This is such a massive amount of growth that just happened because people are starting to get interested in the game. People are starting to get interested in CS2 investing or CSGO investing at that point, and I don't think anything's going to be very different this year. We're going to see a ton of people flock in, a ton of people picking up investments, and I think right now it's going to be a very opportune time. If you're trying to get into investments, you don't know specifically what to look at what did well previously, and that could be a very strong area for you to start looking into. Now, the question of should you buy now is really specific to what commodity you're looking at, because honestly, if we want to look at the overall market, it's extremely pessimistic right now. We're seeing all across the board, people are very upset with the current state of the game, but that doesn't necessarily impact everything equally. If we want to talk about stickers and capsules, it's a little bit of a different story, because these ones have a very strong trajectory right now on a decreasing trend. trend. I don't think any of these are going to miraculously recover and start seeing massive amounts of growth unless we're talking about specific stickers. Like we talked about the G2 glitter, how it was performing very strongly. That was on a no alternative sticker. I would definitely consider picking some up. For talking about cases, I definitely think now is a very opportune time to start looking into them or potentially buying depending on which cases you're talking about specifically. Now, one case that's actually caught my eye a little bit is actually the clutch case for a couple different reasons. Obviously, the clutch case is at the end of the day a rare case, so it does have some value that comes along with that. The biggest thing though is if we're banking on a huge influx of people coming in, they're going to flock to the clutch case for it being the cheapest rare case out there, and we could definitely see another peak like we saw in the past. Plus, at the end of the day, it's a rare case, so if it doesn't end up seeing that massive peak, you're still okay with it long term. It's just going to take a little bit of time to develop. If the clutch case keeps on getting cheaper and cheaper like it is right now, it's definitely something that's going to catch my eye. At a 50-cent price point, it is one of the cheapest cases out there overall. The other case that's been on my mind a little bit has got to be the snakebite case. I'm not going to dwell on it, we talked about it earlier, but there's definitely a lot of evidence to support that the next case to go is probably going to be the snakebite. Not guaranteed by any means, but if we want to talk about the snakebite, it's in a very prime position to get removed. It's just a matter of when it's actually going to get removed. Now, honestly, in my opinion, one of the worst things I think you can do right now is go ahead and sell off virtually anything that's inside of your inventory. This is a very wide range of items. I think is a pretty bad opportunity to sell right now, unless we're talking about something that's a terrible investment like RMR or something you just really want to get rid of. A lot of the prices right now are down from the prices we saw just a couple months ago, and that was the time that you should have been selling if you really wanted to sell, but you don't have to sell. And the biggest thing is, if you want to hold on to your items, I think you're in a very good situation as long as you're not selling off your good investments now for other good investments. It's not going to make sense for most items, especially considering as a general trend, the CS market tends to move together, whereas we see most of the cheaper rare cases go together. Now, what should you specifically be doing right now? Well, I just mentioned, I don't think it's a great idea to sell, but I also don't think it's the most amazing idea to be buying right now, depending on what you're looking into. Buying pairs right now, a little bit to me, kind of seems like a waste. I think there's better opportunities, especially cases, to put your money into than Paris. But if you wanted to go ahead and pick up some of the Antwerp capsules, those are down a little bit. Those might be an okay pickup, or really any unique investment that you want to get into that you don't think is super hyped up could be a very strong opportunity to get into that right now. These are the investments that do absolutely amazing when the hype comes, when people find it, when people get interested in it, and investing into it during a low period right now is one of the most profitable ways to make a ton of money if you're not going to go down the normal investing strategy of cases and capsules. Now, I wanted to give you a little perspective from my point of view, so I got my YouTube statistics for the month of December right here. First up, we can see that we racked up 113,000 views, and I'm very thankful for every single one of them, but it was also the lowest month in throughout the entirety of 2023, so it's definitely a give and take. Obviously, there was not a ton of content that came out, and the people that are watching right now are usually the most dedicated people to CS investing, because obviously you can see the peaks. Those are translated with the market peaks as well. Coming over to the revenue, we made about $310, which obviously does not even come close to the expenses of this channel, but it's definitely nice to have that as a little bit of a buffer. Overall, December 2022 was also a low month, so I'm not too worried about it, and I'm definitely excited for what's to come. Thank you guys so much for watching.